Washington, D.C., a global center of power, ambition,
and farming.
It's incredible.
There's no other place like it in the region.
I mean, it's just open space for miles.
This is a gift.
This is the Agricultural Reserve of Montgomery County, Maryland. 93,000 acres of farms, fields, and forests, just 20 miles from the front step of the White House.
If you imagine being blindfolded, taken to the center of the Ag Reserve and dropped on one of the many farms here, when the blindfold was taken off, you'd never guess you were in Montgomery County.
It's the preservation of open space, of kind of the agrarian culture and the history of the area.
It's a place to rejuvenate, refresh, and restore. And it's also a place to let loose. It's a big reserve, so there are all kinds of fun. There's food fun, paddling fun, history fun, cruising fun, strolling fun, and biking fun. And because it is an agricultural reserve, there is farming.
And my wife, the first time she ever saw me was in my combine. I asked her if she thought my combine was sexy, and she said, yeah. So.
I was in the 8th grade.
Irrigation in the summer when no one else is around.
He said, do you want to do some work this weekend? I said, sure.
I get to feed the chickens.
Been here just about ever since.
First question everybody asks is, how come your sheep are wearing coats?
And he said, you're in charge of getting this tank unloaded.
Everybody still has their coat on.
So when it rolled off the trailer,
Nobody's limping.
rolled 300 feet down across the soybean field.
And nobody's dead.
Flattened the beans like a steamroller.
Sheep have a way of simply dropping dead sometimes.
He fired everybody that day, but he hired us all back the next day.
So, they're working hard and playing hard. But what can you grow this close to a huge city?
And we try to grow tomatoes, really yummy eggs.
Onions,
Zucchini,
tomatoes, and cucumbers. Radish has to be corn. What's it called again? And pepper. Because they're yummy.
You can't make cheese out of camels.
It has to make you feel good. Heirloom tomatoes.
Cows,
Is our blueberry patch.
rabbits,
Beef cattle,
some winter squash,
vegetables, flowers, and herbs.
and then the goats.
Corn, wheat, soybeans.
rye and veg.
We also have some hogs over in the woods.
Wow, we have that in our backyard? This is like an untapped gold mine.
But despite all of its gifts, the reserve is at risk.
There's no question, if you're not going to help train the next generation of farmers, we lose. It's gone. Because the land isn't going to farm itself.
Startup farming, the 10 acres, the 15 acres. The #1 impediment is the cost of land.
Almost every week, somebody has a nifty idea of something they'd like to go on in the Ag Reserve. Some other kind of commercial venture that has nothing whatsoever to do with open space or farmland.
It's a constant, endless vigil.
The view across the river. What you see is Loudoun County, sort of put anything anywhere. If you look at a satellite image of the area, you can see instantly what the difference in land use policies has meant.
The worst thing to happen would be a decade or more from now to have people say, well, there was this really nice ag reserve one time out there, and we didn't know what was happening. Now it's gone.
So there's not just one thing that's going to protect the reserve. It's going to take farmers, landowners, decision makers, civic organizations like Montgomery Countryside Alliance, all working together.
To keep landscapes looking like this, looking like farms, looking like rural villages.
We have the opportunity, I think, over the next 5 to 10 years to set the example for what a suburban jurisdiction can do.
We should be able to feed ourselves without having to truck it in from thousands of miles away. Water, air, land should be protected. The people that feed us should be able to make a decent living.
Cheap food is not necessarily healthy food. Something I think our culture is coming around to. People say, oh, it's a fad, those CSAs. Well, yeah, like gyms are a fad.
I don't think people really know the value of their local farmer yet, but I think they will.
Grocery stores or hospitals or schools who can start bringing in these products, you're keeping the food close to home, you're generating some demand.
Amana has put in place a farm to food bank program that has really ramped up the ability for a family in need to get access to fresh fruits and vegetables.
It's about being a part of our community. We're all connected in some way, and we really depend on each other.
It only takes one afternoon of traveling through the reserve to know that we have something very rare and very special.
And it should be modeled everywhere. Every big city should have an ag reserve.
There really is something for everyone to love.